I was 32,000 feet above Kansas in an airplane flying from BWI to Los Angeles. Probably around 9 o'clock, 9:15, our pilot came on and he was very brief with his words. He simply said, "We have to make an unscheduled landing immediately. I'll keep you posted." And finally the captain came back on and said before we hit the ground, or landed I should say, that there had been a national emergency and that he would share more details with us when we got on the ground. There was a plane crash. So we got on the ground, we were there for 2.5 hours, and finally they came and opened the door. And as I looked out, there were government officials everywhere. There were policemen, there were sheriff, there were immigration agents, there were Department of Natural Resources, all of them carrying weapons. And they greeted us. We had to step down about 2 feet to get off the plane. But after I'd been down on the ground and we got to a place where we could get TV coverage, and I saw the monumental nature of the disaster, I realized it was probably true. But we got off the plane, they took all our luggage and put it on the ground, we claimed our luggage, and then we had to go through a line and they searched all of our luggage. We were a suspect airplane. So we were pretty much viewed as potential terrorists when we got on the ground. Every once in a while you'll hear of an incident on an airplane, and what happens nowadays is men from all over the plane come rushing to help the crew subdue that person. And that's the way it's always going to be from here on out. I don't think we'll ever have a day where someone can take over a plane without them experiencing the consequences. People are so much more careful because of what we experienced in that one horrific event. It has changed everything. Safety is no longer assumed. And as a country, we've all suffered a little bit because we no longer have the freedom to do things in a casual way the way we used to. And it's unfortunate, but we all accept it because that's what we have to do.
I was working for Kindred Healthcare at the time, and we had a regional meeting going on over across the bridge in Sellersburg, Indiana. And we were in a conference room, about 20 of us together, and someone came in and told us about the first plane crashing into the first tower. And we all, the group I was with, we all were very saddened to hear about it. We did not think terrorism right away. We were looking at some TVs down the hallway in some residents' rooms, peeking in their rooms, watching their TVs, and that's when everyone started screaming and everyone heard about the second plane hitting, and so right away panic set in. As we then knew it must be a terrorist attack. We felt like we were actually at war, which was very terrifying. My dad was traveling on business in New York at that time, and his corporate headquarters were out of Long Island, New York. So I did not know the geography of New York. I didn't know how far Long Island was from New York City. So I didn't know if he was in the middle of all that or how far he was. And it took a while for us for him to be able to notify our family and let us know that he was okay. So there was definitely some panic.
Well, I was up at a sales meeting in Long Island, New York, which is about 70 some miles from Manhattan, New York. And that morning, I was sitting in a meeting with our sales manager, and somebody came into the office and said a plane had hit one of the Twin Towers. And whenever I heard it, I was just thinking it was probably a little small plane, like a little Cessna or something like that. That's all, because that's all we had heard at the time. So we went on about our business and, just kept on with the meeting that I was in. And then a little while later, whatever time it was, somebody came in and said a second plane had hit the other tower. And then we all jumped up and got very concerned about it. My sales manager, he looked at me and 2 or 3 of the other guys that were there and said, Tyler, you need to take Joe and Jim back to the airport and get a car. this is serious stuff. So we jumped in this other guy's car and we went back to the airport. And things were starting to get kind of really weird at that point because, you could see from the atmosphere at the airport, things were starting to shut down already. So we got to the airport and went into one of the rental car agencies, and me and this other guy, we got probably the last 2 cars that were available. And so I just remember that we were going down the Long Island Expressway, and we were getting close to the city. And as we were getting close to the city, I could see all the smoke. And the closer I got, the more smoke I saw. Now, I didn't go right by downtown where this happened at, but it was close enough to where, I just remember I'm driving down the expressway, and I looked over to my left, and all you could see was smoke. All of New York City was just covered in smoke. I just remember looking over and thinking, oh my God. Yeah, it was pretty tough. It was very weird seeing all the smoke and everything coming up, and it's like every time we would come over to an overpass, people were had American flags draped over the bridges and stuff, and it was very touching.
I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda.
There were pictures of Osama dancing in celebration of the killing of 3,000 people. And it was just so rewarding to know that our country had the ability to track down one individual who had been hiding for a decade, and were able to find him and deal with him. That kind of brought an ending to that part of the story. Terrorism may come up in other forms, but that brought an end to that one episode. And that brought justice to, I think, what was just a terrible event.
When 9/11 first occurred, it brought our country together. Everyone was so patriotic. We were proud to be Americans. We looked out for each other. It was just about the human race. It wasn't about division and different parties and races. And we all wanted to help one another and felt for each other. But as time goes on, in just about every aspect of life, things calm down, and as time passes, people forget. And unfortunately, our country, I feel, and these days, is very divided. And there's a lot of hate in our world and our country, and racism, and political parties arguing. That's always been there, but I feel like it's more so today than ever since 9/11 for sure. And I wish everyone could come together and remember the days following 9/11 and be more kind and thoughtful to each other in America today.
I thought it's about time. I thought it took too long, but I was glad. I was, very, very glad that happened, that they finally got him,